What is up, Teach Better family? It is Wednesday. It is 5 o'clock Eastern time. That means this is your Teach Better Brain Break for Wednesday, February 9, 2022. My name is Jeff. That's Dave. We're excited that you're here. We've got some stuff we want to talk about today, stuff we want to share, maybe play some games, probably goof around a little bit. So if you're with us, grab whatever drink you need, whatever snack you need, whatever you got. Drop in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. What are you taking a break from? What's going on? And is there anything you want us to chat about? And we'll get into it. We're going to dive in here in a second. We'll be back. I don't know how long these new clips are, so I can't say. I used to always say be back in a minute. We'll be back in some time right after this. I do like that. I'm digging the tunes. How long was it?
I had 18 seconds, but I didn't look at my watch right away. So
let's call it 21.
So, fair enough. So we're both gonna be thinking it's 21, and next week when we're picking our nose and come back on, because that's what I do during those songs.
So definitely not long enough for that. So we have to fix that. But I do like those. So shout out to Ray for that. Okay, so here we are, Brain Break. We are streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, and on LinkedIn now.
Because we are super professional.
Because we're super
Brain Break,
professional.
I think, makes perfect sense for LinkedIn.
It really does. And the production value that we have here with our crews is incredible. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, no, you guys do a great job. Yeah. I'm
super grateful for my stylist. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know I don't let you do my hair, but I don't have much. She just puts gel on it and it shines, and then puts a hat over it. I don't know why. All right. My stylist is mad because I won't let her do my hair. Anyway, just so you know, in case you were confused by that great acting, there are no people over here. I was just joking around. Dave does have a stylist over there, though. That's something we did. Clearly, that person picked out his shirt and has been fired.
Ouch.
So what is going on in your life, Mr. Flamingo?
Is that me? Just want to make sure that you're talking about me.
Is there really any confusion on who I'm talking to right now? You are rocking a flamingo shirt, my friend.
I am.
That is a Florida shirt, brother.
Well, I feel like I wore it intentionally today because I had to get myself in a happy place because there's a lot of crazy in Florida. But I had to embrace the positivity of Florida.
Which is flamingos.
So I worked outside today.
Oh, okay.
Actually got a little sunburn. Yeah, got a little sunburn on the dome.
Okay. All right.
But it was worth that sacrifice.
How warm is it right now down there?
So it is because
I saw
67 degrees.
So I saw a video earlier today of some guy in Florida going, all right, Florida, I don't understand. Why are we selling bathing suits right now when it's so freaking cold here in Florida?
Right. So
I'm like,
I thought my blood is still like Michigan blood. Because I remember my freshman year of college up in Michigan, up in the great state of Michigan. And we would get one of those random 40-degree sunny days in January, February, and everybody would go outside and sunbathe on the big hill behind the dorms. And that's kind of how I felt today. I was like, the sun is shining, mid-60s. Let's go get some work done outside and work on the complexion a little bit.
It's 45 here today.
Wow. Is everything melting?
There's just a lot. So it's like the roads are clear, driveways are cleaning up, sidewalks starting. I mean, there's still mounds of snow. I just had to lift my trash cans up to put them up on top of the snow so they can take them away. But yeah, we were we had to pick the kids up. Kids got their vaccine. We can go to that story if you want. And we were coming out, like Jonathan and I didn't put our coats back on. Jonathan's like, "Wow, it's hot out here." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "It's like 45 out here." And it is. It's still 45. It's warm. So beautiful day here. Feels if I was someone who sunbathed today would have been good. If the sun was beating down, that's what really made it feel so warm today. It felt warmer than 45. I'm like, I would have been out on that hill. I don't have the hill or the desire, but that would have been me.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So yes, we got the vaccines done today.
And how did that go? Do we want to tell the full story? Or?
So we were pretty nervous. If those who don't know,
talk about for your kids. For your kids.
For my kids, yeah, it was the first one. Two things. One, Jacqueline suffers from extreme anxiety. And has passed out numerous times at the mention of needles or seeing her brother or anybody like that get anything done. So we were worried about that. Jonathan, it's hilarious we talked about today. So like we'll say 4 years ago. No, it's about 3 years ago, maybe. I don't know. 3 or 4 years ago. Jonathan, we were at the hospital. He was having some issues and had to get blood drawn. So we go down to this other office, other area, room, whatever. And he like asks what's going on. We tell him what's happening. He asks like what, and we tell him what's going to happen. And for the next 30 minutes, he screamed and yelled and screamed and swung at, like he was throwing punches and like, I'm talking like legit trying to hurt us. The nurse came in and left like 4 or 5 times. I'm literally holding down. He's literally like biting my hand, like trying to just tears and just like screaming bloody murder. We get it done. And I am not kidding. We go out and we're in line. They're like, hey, he's done. He's calm. He's at least calmed down. He goes, Dad, how brave was I? I didn't even cry. And I'm like, I literally in there, like we're in front of the nurse and I'm like, and she's like, oh, that's so good. You break. I'm like, no. And Amy's just like, what? Like we were like, he literally blacked it out. So today he was a champ today. Like he was nervous and like he's done. He's like getting it. He's looking at me. He's holding my hand in case he needs to squeeze. He goes, I'm terrified, Dad. I'm like, that's where bravery comes in. And she did it. He's like, oh, nothing. No, like yelp, nothing. And he was fine. No tears, nothing. He was good. So then a little later we're talking about it. And he's like, I said to him, well, one of the other times, the last time you had a needle done was for getting blood drawn. He goes, yeah. I didn't even cry. And I'm like, no. Now you get the story. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, you completely blocked it out. And clearly you have blocked it out of your memory as well. So we were worried today is what I'm trying to say by those 2 stories. So Jonathan did great.
Well,
Jax was different.
50%. Okay.
Jax afterwards was trying to figure out why she got it in her left arm, why her right arm hurt. And I said, that's because Daddy had to hold it so hard because you were trying to jump out of my arms and push the needle away that your other arm probably hurts from fighting Daddy. I had her on my lap, had to hold her. She was just screaming bloody murder. No, I want to go home. Don't do it. Please don't do it. I want to go home. No. Like screaming. Like I joked, but it's not like I'm pretty sure Amy and I might need to do some sort of therapy after this. Like it is hard. Now she's like, it wasn't that bad. Like she had, like the actual shot, she's like, oh yeah, that wasn't bad. It was the build-up. So we're hoping to remind her of that when we go back in 3 weeks to get another one. So
parenting is tough, man. It's because I can guarantee, and you and I haven't really talked about this, but I can guarantee you had thoughts going on in your head like, is this worth it? Do we follow through? Do we not? Do you? Yeah. And I mean, those sorts of situations happen all the time as a parent when you're like, do I sit in the hard? Do I sit in the difficult? Or do I not? Do I cave to the immediate?
Yeah,
cave to the desires right now? Or, I mean, it's so hard.
Well,
so
to
hard
me, it's just like, is she going to remember this forever? Like,
right.
I'm traumatized her and I'm the one. And I'm like, no, probably not.
Like, or will she remember forever and realize that she can do hard things? Right.
I don't know. Like it was tough. But she got it done and she was, it took her a while to calm down afterwards because it was just all built up, but she finally calmed down and was able to talk and explain that like it didn't hurt. But so that was a fun afternoon with that. We got it done. So that's good. So they got their first dose.
So you are fully embracing the idea of having a brain break right now. Like this is why brain break exists, is for these moments when you have those days and you're like, I just need to shut it down. I went for the Smirnoff and
yeah, it was tough. It was crazy because like Amy had left work early. She came home, picked me up to go get the kids, and I'm like, I'm anxious. Like I'm sick to my stomach right now. She said, me too, because we were so worried about how it was going to go. Like we were legit worried that like we weren't going to be able to do it. So like, thankfully we were able to do it, but like I saw Amy's face when the way like I was I had her in a bear hug and she's trying to get her hands up and I'm just like, and the nurse kind of looked at me, I'm like, just do it. And she's like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. And the nurse was amazing and talking Jack like, hey, I'm just putting the Band-Aid on now. That's all we're doing. I'm just putting them. I'm like, just do it now. And she's like, okay, good.
Stop the talking.
and she did it and it was good. But I appreciated like the way she went at it and stuff was really good. So I hope she told us a story afterward of a younger boy. He was only like 5. who didn't do too bad the first shot, but when he came back for a second shot, like he got there, saw her, and went, "Oh crap," and like lost it. I'm like, well, hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, it's tough, man. Parenting's tough.
Do you have any memories of that from your own childhood?
No.
Not necessarily shots or anything like that, but like for me, the closest I can come to that is when my parents were supposedly teaching me how to swim, and they signed me up for swim lessons, and I was throwing haymakers at the lifeguard. I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and eventually she just picked me up and threw me into the deep end. And it freaked me out. Like they were trying to do tough love and show me that I could survive, but it just showed me like I can't trust that woman anymore. And it was this weird thing. Now I look back and I think, oh, it probably taught me some perseverance and some great.
I don't know that
I could live, but
I don't know that I ever. I'm thinking back like when I learned how to swim. Like I don't remember that being. It was weird, but I don't remember like any trauma, like anything like that. I do remember when I was young. I had a lot of anxiety too, and I had stomach aches and trying to be home from school. And a lot of times I was just trying to get out of school because I was nervous to go to school. And I remember, after once or twice, then my mom would be like, no, like you go and deal with it, kid. And I remember, that being a rough time during the time, right? Like I hated it. I was angry, but when I look back, I'm like, oh, like sometimes you just got to do that. Like, and sometimes you got to just, because I learned things like, that you follow through with your words. You do what you say you're going to do because those were that type of stuff. Like,
yeah.
But like, I don't remember big time trauma. Maybe I blocked it out. That's why.
So the thing you just mentioned,
I had so much trauma, Dave, that I just don't remember any of it. Like,
so the thing you just mentioned right now, if I can just be very real, I'm struggling with that right now with one of mine. And I'm just going to leave it cryptic as to which one.
Which part?
With one of my. So I have one of mine who is nervous about going to school and is oftentimes trying to convince me that they don't need to go and that their anxiety is overwhelming to the point where I've allowed them to stay home once. I've picked them up from school a couple of times, but it perpetuates. And so now every single time I'm like, okay, do I respond? Do I go? Right. Do I dismiss? Do I say, no, you can stick through this and then we'll talk through it afterwards? But then what if they get so mad at me that they won't talk? Like it is
happened on Monday. So the kids had, we had snow days on Thursday, Friday. So they had a long weekend and we know Jacqueline's going to be anxious, and she was really bad on Monday morning, and it was bad. And I forced him, well, we got to get your brother to school anyways. We got her in the car, and I'm like, maybe if I get in the car, I told him, if I can get her in the car, I'll get over there. I think I can get her in. And it happens fairly frequently with her where she's bad, and if we just give her a little bit of push and talk her through it, and get her there, and then she's fine and everything's good. But Monday she was in like good real tears, like upset, and I said, okay, we're gonna have a mental health break. And so it's this challenge of when do I how do I and when do I know that, okay, no, he or she needs this day and that's okay, versus because you you feel so horrible when you're like, there's a little part of me that thinks you're faking it,
right? And so and absolutely.
That's I think it's legitimate because sometimes that will happen, but it's like or not even that you're faking it, but it's that makes you feel bad. Then you're like, okay, now I'm like, I'm going to just push you through it in tough love because once you get there, you'll be fine and everything's good. But then I've had days where I've done that and then I get a call an hour and a half in and she fainted because she got herself so worked up. And I'm like, oh, you're a horrible parent.
Well, so on so many levels, I'm relating to this right now because those are the thoughts that
being a horrible parent. I know.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, I know most of the people that watch this are teachers and educators. And as teachers and educators, we experience these same sorts of things with kids in our classroom who, when they might be misbehaving or showing some sort of anxious feelings, and however that manifests, we can look at it through our eyes and say, no, that's not how you're supposed to respond to this. And with kids, sometimes the only thing that they can control is our own emotions, and they know how to play us. They know how to I don't know, their world is school. So if they can push that away from it, it makes them feel like they're in some sort of control. It makes them feel like they can, and I have such a hard time putting myself into that headspace because that's not who I am. That's not where I am. That's not what I feel. And I want to just say, no, just do it my way. Trust me. Just do it my way. Put your head down and go through it. and you'll be better on the other side. But I can't do that. It reminds me of the conversation we were having early on about empathy, right? It's how do you do that as a parent when you've got kids that are 30 years younger than you? How do you show empathy for a child who doesn't think like you, doesn't feel like you, their world experience isn't anything like yours? It's so hard.
Yeah, it's tough. I think I'm fairly prepared in a sense for like Jax because I did have anxiety and stuff. I was never treated for it. I don't know that it was necessarily recognized. But when I reflect back, I'm like, oh yeah, I used to do that. I used to feel that. But also my wife has
I'm sorry, I'm going to ask a personal question. Was that past tense? So have you seen yourself come out of that, or is it
oh no, my anxiety is worse now than I think it's ever
okay
been. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think I hide it well in a lot of instances, but it's still here. I struggle with sleep a lot. And which then leads in all kinds of other things.
Sure.
But I think I recognize it more, so I can recognize most of the time I can recognize when I need to step away, to do something, to take a minute or whatever. And I can understand, I can process it, right? So one of the hardest part with Jacqueline is like, she's getting there now because it's been several years, but like when she feels that feeling you get, right? Mm-hmm. We call it with her, we call it like, you feel a tingling, you don't know what to do feeling like that. Like that's when you don't know what that is. It's really hard to process that.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I know how to process it now at almost 40, but she's got 7 years of life experience and she's got to process that, all these things that are going on in her head that feel like legit fear of like the worst when it's just, a little bit of nervousness about going to school or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. This is I think with us, our kids are so different, but alike in certain ways, but they're so different the way that they process and manifest their feelings. That's, I think, the hardest part because we so often have to give Jacqueline additional attention and we forget that Jonathan needs that attention too. He just displays that needs in a much different way.
Have you gone through the phase that I go through often, which is blaming self? Almost as if like the stuff that they're experiencing is a flaw, which it's not a flaw, it's a reality. But I look at myself and say, did I create this? Did I model this? Did I somehow cause this?
Yep.
And how do I fix it? It's
I've tried to combat that by sharing that with them. So like with Jacqueline, like last night, we told him last night what we were doing today, and of course we had an hour and a half of hysterics last night. When she got calmed down and we were sitting and she was in the bed and we were talking to them, and I talked about how like, look, I said, here's the crazy thing is tomorrow when you're done, you can look back and be like, oh, I was being kind of silly because it didn't hurt. I said, I did the same thing with all three of mine. Every single time I was like, I don't like getting a needle stuffed in my arm. I was so nervous, so worried. And I'm like, I'm telling myself you don't have to. And then I got there and I didn't even feel him do it. And I was like, well, that was a lot of worrying for nothing. I'm like, so like, and I was telling her, I'm like, so like what you're feeling, daddy feels too. And I told her last time, like, that's probably where you get it from mommy and daddy. I mean, and grandma feels the same way. So I try to, but I do that. Like what you're saying, like I blame, I'm like, was this me? Like, what did we do early on to inflict them with
nature,
this?
Nurture, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Could I have done something or was this going to happen no matter what? Like, and we'll never know the answer. So I guess there's that. But yeah, I don't know. It's
being an adult is tricky. It's
being
tricky.
Adult is tricky. Well,
but it's also tricky as being a kid, apparently too.
Yeah, that's pretty tough too. I think. But we kind of like dove into some.
I know, and funny. So we're trying to get ourselves scripted, and now we've gotten to the place where we log on 5 minutes early to have a conversation.
Is scripted the right word?
Well, no. We try to appease Ray to some capacity. We try to figure out when Ray's going to tune in so we can have so we can try to navigate. But we were talking beforehand, and I shared a couple of things. I was like, "Oh, we could talk about this," and we were like, "No, let's not go there. Let's try to keep it a little bit lighter." And then this is where I took us. I apologize. It's still not the other thing. So people that want to know the other thing, we'll go there some other time, but not here.
That might need to be like a private webinar where people know what they're signing up for. So what's going on? What else is going on with you? We were talking about empathy, and we could talk about that because I do think
we were
it's a fun
talking about
conversation.
so we've been doing this thing lately, following the script, where we're talking about like what you're reading, what you're thinking,
yeah.
And you were talking a little Gary V,
Mm-hmm.
and empathy, which is interesting because I feel like most people that know Gary V know him as this guy that comes across kind of brash, and he just tells you how it is, and this is what I'm thinking. But he's got a stance on empathy that you were sharing with me. I think it's pretty cool.
Well, he's huge on empathy. I mean, it's like he pushes that harder than anything in the world. I think almost other than kindness, maybe.
Yeah.
But he talks about empathy and kindness together. Um, but and he's always he talks about empathy a lot. He usually talks about it in the realm of like when you get a negative comment, a hate comment, or whatever. Instead of like taking that to heart or trying to like go back at them or just deleting it, is to deploy empathy and kindness and saying, what is going on in this person's life that is so tough and so painful that they needed to take the 3 minutes to consume my content and then take the extra time to type out these nasty words. Like, what is going on in their life? And so he tells a story about a common one is where someone like it was a simple comment that wasn't even that like wasn't vulgar. It was just like something about you're ridiculous, Gary. You don't actually even know what you're talking about. Da da da. And he initially, or you're not special. And he goes, I initially commented back, that's not what my mom says. And he goes, but then I went back and I looked at his profile and he's a photographer. So then I commented back, by the way, your photography is amazing. And he goes, so it was empathy. I was trying to think, what is going on in this guy's life that he felt that? And then he's like, but empathy goes really well with kindness. Cause then I want to let him know like, hey, that's okay that you felt that and you had to, that your whatever the pain you're going through manifested in this comment on my content. I want you to know that I looked at your photography and it looks great. Like, here's a little bit of kindness because maybe you haven't gotten it. So that was an interesting one. But where he goes more, and that's the kind of empathy that I typically think of, is the trying to be able to see it from someone else's perspective, regardless of how they bring that up and what way they approach it. You approaching it with, let me try to understand it from your side. Even if I don't necessarily agree with it, how can I at least understand where you're coming from? Because then we can have a better dialogue. In his book, he talks about that, but then he talks about how he believes empathy is the thing that has led to most of his success, because empathy in his mind, in that sense, is being able to understand why people do things, right? Which, if you think about the same thing, why did that guy leave that comment? Well, he looks at it when you look from a business or marketing standpoint, is how do you deploy empathy and understand why do people buy certain things? Why do people flex on certain things? Why do people do X, Y, Z? And that's what allows him. He's be able to listen and watch. He said, society and people on what they do and why they do things, and allowed him to then do it. He actually credits in the book. He says empathy is the reason he invested his life savings in Facebook, which is like the big thing one of the big things he did where people started thinking that he was like this guru of investing and stuff, is that he goes, he just saw the writing on the wall because he was empathetic to why people were doing certain things on the internet, why people did things in his store. They talk about that when, if you don't know his story, he ran his father's liquor store. Like, that's what he did from 14 for like 20 years or whatever it was. And he did that every day. He sat there at the register and he said he didn't know it, but he was deploying empathy with every person that came in. Why were they coming in for liquor? What were they looking for? Why did they buy that one and not that one, or this one and not that one? And that helped him then rearrange the store. But from a marketing standpoint, he put certain things in certain places because that's where people went. But from a bigger standpoint, then he understands, okay, what kind of content should I make? Because if I'm empathetic and realizing that the people that follow me are feeling this pain or looking for this, I can now create things for that to help them. And so there's a borderline there where you could use the same techniques. And I think Brene Brown talked about this, where you could use that for evil, right?
Absolutely.
Or to con people or to trick people. I think the key is it's the kindness. Like, why am I actually deploying this? What am I actually using it for, right? Not for manipulation, but so that I can better serve you if that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And so it's just it was just a different take than what he typically talks about when he talks about deploying empathy. But that's
good. And you mentioned Brene Brown, and that's literally the chapter I read today. I'm trying to slow down her book specifically because I want to be able to absorb it and like really just like meditate on what she's talking about. And she's talking about empathy right now, and it's her stance comes from a more research-based approach. And what does the science say about it? But a lot of what you just said, she hits at, and she would agree with everything that you just said. And she takes it a step further, and she says, oftentimes we say Empathy is walking a mile in somebody else's shoes and putting yourself in their shoes. And she said, no, that's not what empathy is. Empathy is you owning it and saying, I need to understand what they're going through so that I can stand beside them, so that I can support them.
Mhm.
It's not about you trying to act like you could go through what they're going through, because that actually dismisses whatever they're going through. That anybody
And
else
can't happen. You can't
absolutely.
do that.
Yeah. So you have to own your part of the process as well. So I just thought it was really powerful. So
yeah, it's a really cool take on it. And I've heard that we got a podcast guest, and I don't know if she pulled that from Brene Brown or whatever. And I can't remember who it was. It was really early on who she talked about that. And she's something like, when she said something like, those aren't your shoes, so don't walk in them. But understand why they're in those shoes, what those shoes feel like to them, and why those shoes might hurt. And why those, and I think that's empathy is such a, and when you think about whether it's your colleagues, your bosses, your staff, your students, your family, people who disagree with you politically, religiously, you name it, deploying that empathy is hard. But me personally, I feel like it helps me so much when I see something that angers me. If I stop for a minute and try to deploy some empathy and understand how they got there to that conclusion, to that opinion, to that thought process, whatever, even if I still disagree with it wholeheartedly and vehemently, like, to understand, it's just, I'm like, oh, okay, I think they're horrible for thinking that, but I understand how they got there. And it changes it where you stop thinking, I'm thinking more political at this point. Like, you stop judging it, the person necessarily, and you judge the idea, the society that has led that person there. It's just, that's different. So it's no longer you are a bad person. It's I believe that you believe something that's wrong, but I understand how you got there now.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've made the statement before that there should be no taboo topics in education, at least amongst the adults.
Mm-hmm.
But far too often we have things we don't talk about because we have such a difficult time separating the ideas from the person, and we don't want to ruin the way that we perceive a person or the way that they're going to perceive us because we have disagreements about ideas. So
now, to be fair, I still believe that there are lots of things that people believe or fall victim to, whatever, that tells you a lot about that person. But that
sure.
But I think looking at it from how do they get there and figuring out how did they get there, like, it doesn't make any sense to me, but obviously they got there somehow. Like, just helps you understand it better, and makes it so that it is more likely, not necessarily always, but more likely that you can have a conversation with them that's actually productive.
Yeah, agreed.
Versus just going right to the you're an idiot or you're this or you're that or whatever. So
good stuff. Good stuff.
I feel like we've been a little too deep for 27.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to change up again? I've got an activity, a game we can do. Not really into the other thing I sent you yet, so we can save that for later.
You have a game? Well.
Sort of. It's sort of a game.
Guess what I have?
The little scratch at the end there, like Jazzy Jeff is in it. That was pretty sweet. That
Game time, baby. What do you got for us? You got like cards? Do you have cards?
I kind of sort of.
Are you in the top 10?
No.
Sorry.
So this is another one of those Schmitto-esque activities where I will break it down pedagogically as well.
Ooh,
so if people want to use something like this in their classroom, or if they're a school leader and you want to use this with your staff, feel free. It's typically Schmitto games aren't brand new. They're just a twist on things that we've already done. And it's a subtle twist that oftentimes has a pretty profound impact. So at this time of year, it's February. I don't know if your emails are getting bombarded by Jostins reminding you that yearbooks are still available. You still haven't purchased a yearbook for your kid yet. There's only 3 months left to order your yearbook and blah, blah, blah. Everybody wants me to buy a yearbook for my kids. When I've got 4 kids, that stuff adds up and it gets super expensive. Well, the yearbook clubs in a lot of schools right now are starting to put their final edits together. And one of the last things that they do is they start writing their superlatives. If you're familiar with superlatives, it's when they say who is the smartest kid or who is the nicest teacher, or they come up with all these great things and they pass out these awards for individuals throughout the school.
Okay.
So the activity, the game that I like to play is simply called superlatives. And it's a game that I used to do about the halfway point of the year just to try to refresh things and to make sure that we had a positive slant on things. Now, the way that I would do it is I would not say, we're going to vote on who the smartest person in the class is. We're going to vote on the prettiest girl in class or whatever. We don't do that because inevitably what happens, it becomes a popularity contest.
Mm-hmm.
You end up isolating people.
Yep.
You end up shunning others, and other people, if they don't get voted for that thing, it's defeating. So what we would do, or what I would do, is we would do similar to what I'm going to challenge us to do. So to do this, Jeff Gargas and anybody else that's still watching, feel free to pull up teachbetter.com/aboutourteam and to pull up the About Our Team
Oh, wow,
page.
we're doing a team, huh?
Yeah. So, and here's how it works. What I've got on my paper, I already have superlatives listed for some individuals. I'm going to describe the characteristic, and you have to try to guess the person.
Ooh.
What is super cool about this is that even if you don't have the same person I do, that other person that you're mentioning or guessing is getting filled up because they're like, oh my gosh, you thought that was me? Sweet. So
okay.
It's a fun game. You can do it a lot of different ways, but when I was the teacher, I would come up with my own list and everybody would be on the list. And then everybody is guessing all these random people. And little Johnny, who never gets picked for anything, somebody is saying, oh, I think that's the guy that's the smartest one in class. And he's like, oh, and might not have been me, but now the other kid in class thinks that he's smart. And it's just a great way to make people feel good.
I like that a lot. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's a great activity with the kids too. I mean, you could use it in Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's really cool too. I actually did it for the first time, if I'm being completely honest, as a principal with my staff. It was one of those things we did a staff appreciation thing. I came up with these superlatives and everybody had to guess who it was. And it was really cool. And we utilized Wordle. So for their guesses, they had to populate who they thought it was and type it in. And these Wordles would pop up who people thought where it was the person. And it was just really, really cool. And then I had teachers take it back to their classrooms. So you want to try some of this?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay.
This is fun.
So I actually I had to pull up the About Our Team page because there's a lot of people on this team, Jeff Gargas.
I'm not sure what's going on there. Get out of hand.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just bringing up our Facebook group because I don't have it open and I don't know who's all commenting. So you take us. I'm just getting
okay. Fair enough. You're good. So the first person, I couldn't come up with like an est, a superlative, like they're the best or the coolest, or I could have, but I was too lazy. So this person, I'm simply titling "You Know Me," because this is a person that literally knows everybody so well. It's a person that you feel like they know your deepest, darkest secrets. They know your passions. They know your interests. They're just an amazing person, and they are so good at getting to know people. So who do you think I wrote down for this one, Jeff Gargas? It could be a lot of people, right? And if anybody else wants to play along and give us some guesses, feel free. Let us know. Who do you think You Know Me is?
I think you put down Livia.
Ooh, why would you think that was Liv Chan?
Because Livia is constantly reaching out and just saying hi, wanting to talk to you, wanting to learn about you. Trying to think if she's gotten my deepest, darkest secrets out. Not necessarily.
Okay.
But I think Liv. I'm trying to think of who else that might be.
So Brienne also thinks Liv. I see her chiming in with that.
Yep.
Somebody said Ray. Okay.
Who was that? That's Brian. What's up, Brian? Good to see you, brother. Who also thinks that Liv is awesome. Correct. I think it's my other answer would be you.
Me? Oh,
yeah.
No, I'm not starting this game by throwing myself out there, but thank you, sir.
I'm locking in my answer as Liv.
Okay. No, I think that's an amazing guess. But that's not who I went with.
Oh, who'd you go with?
I went with Amanda.
That makes complete sense too.
And the reason I went with Amanda, for my birthday, she got me bourbon coffee. Like coffee that came in a bourbon that was aged in a bourbon barrel.
What was the brand? Was it the same thing that they?
It was so good. It was like I had to grind the beans myself.
Oh yeah,
it was so good.
And I've had that. Like, so good.
She is so good at making people feel special and value. You know, I do that activity oftentimes with my PD where I say, can you think about a specific and unique gift to buy people so they feel like they're noticed and they're seen and they're valuable? Yeah. She does it. Like
Oh, yeah.
she knows the
Mhm.
people and says, I'm going to get that person something because I know what makes them tick.
I thought about Amanda, but I went with Liv. But that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, next up.
Okay. The next one, this one's a fun one. I don't know if you're going to be able to get it, but you got to try to get inside my head to get into whatever. This one, this person's name is, or their description is, your spouse is almost as cool as you. Your
That's
spouse is
Ray.
almost as cool as you.
That's Ray because she seems to love everybody's spouses better than the person.
Your spouse is almost as cool as you. Does anybody know this one?
I can think of a few, but like it depends on how you're. Are you telling this person that their spouse is almost as cool as them? Because that to me is you'd have to know their spouse.
To be fair, though, we get to see a lot of people's loved ones, like on meetings. People are constantly popping in and out, or they just describe them. We have those hangouts once a month, and people are telling us about their loved ones and their spouses. So some people can exaggerate.
For me, I struggle because I was like, oh, maybe it's Josh. I'm like, no, she's cooler than him.
That's fair point. Fair point. Yeah,
like, it wouldn't work for me because she's definitely cooler than me.
Your spouse is almost as cool as you.
Are you saying that to this person, or is it?
I don't know.
They look at things.
I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it?
I don't like this question. I don't like this game. I feel like you put a cheat code in.
Up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Do it.
I am putting in for. I'm going with Josh. I'm gonna say Josh.
You're gonna say Josh. Well, his wife is incredible. And I actually have had the opportunity to meet his wife as well. She's a rock star. She's a runner. Super duper cool.
Mm-hmm.
Not who I chose for this one though. Although probably could have been in the running here. I went with Katie Miglin for this one.
Oh, he's cooler though.
Katie, I don't know. Katie Miglin is a rock star at all things. And she's got her husband trained to, like, we'll be in meetings and it's almost like she snaps her fingers and drinks it in her hands, right? And it's super quiet. She's got kids running around, but super quiet when she's in meetings. Like, I would say that her husband is incredible. I forgot that Katie was on the team.
What?
Katie runs this team. Is that why? Because she's like the Oz behind the curtain
No, that's a good one. That definitely fits because I forget until I started thinking about it. I forget how often Matt pops into things and gets her drinks and stuff. Yep. Yeah. Okay, that was a good one. That's a good one.
Like that one?
Yeah. Okay. Who's next? I got to get one of these before.
Okay. So my all-time favorite Tim McGraw song is "Humble and Kind." It's a good one. So this person is humble and kind.
Brad Hughes.
Brad Hughes is humble and kind. Yeah, he definitely is humble and kind.
Olivia is totally humble and kind.
You can't just start naming all the Canadians. Canadians aren't all the ones that are humble and kind. But that's true.
Josh is super humble.
Did you know that Brad Hughes? I think we talked about this before. He was actually on the curling team in high school.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah. I was at that. Yeah, I was doing a team hangout that came out.
Yeah. Yes. Like, we make fun of Liv because she plays ringettes and coaches ringette, which is sort of like hockey, but not. Brad Hughes is another stereotypical Canadian. He's, by the way, on the curling team.
If you don't know how Liv injured her leg, if you don't know how she injured her leg, it's because she checked someone too hard.
That's so cool.
Tell me when you think of Liv, you think of her checking someone so hard that she hurts herself. Anyway, humble and kind. Carrie, that could definitely be Carrie.
Ooh, that is a good one for Carrie. Yeah,
definitely be Carrie. Definitely Brad. Definitely Liv.
There's a lot of people.
I can name most. I mean, that could be Bree. That could be Megan. That could be Andrew. Like,
I feel like you're singing that TikTok song right now. It could be one. It could be two. Or it could be red. It can be blue.
Yeah.
So it could pretty much be anybody.
Bree's going with Andrea. I figured it's not you, it's not me.
Yeah, I said humble and kind, so
it's definitely not Ray. I don't know. Who is it?
Andrea is a very, very good guess.
But you didn't go with Andrea.
I did not. No, see, this is one of those. I actually do have these written down, and I'm being true to it. But this is one of those places where, as the teacher, you can have some creative license. So, like, if all the kids are just getting it right away, that's when you can start saying, "Oh no, but give me another guess." And that way, they have to start naming other people that they think hit those characteristics. So, take your creative liberties here. But I actually did write down somebody, and he has not been mentioned yet for this one. For this one, he has not been mentioned yet.
But for other ones, he has been. Josh, it's not Josh.
It is Joshua.
I mentioned Josh.
You mentioned it for the other
I
one.
mentioned
You
him for this one too.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. That's okay.
I thought you named a bunch of Canadians and then you went to Andrea. So.
No, it's all right. If I was wearing a flamingo shirt, I wouldn't know either. So it's cool.
That's true.
So Josh, that is totally true. Totally accurate.
I mean, even in his name, he's got double underscore. Like he's just so low. He doubled it up, right? He wanted to make sure, like he didn't put the dash in the middle. It was underscore. Yeah. He's underscored. He wants to make sure that he's Okay.
That's a good one. That was a good one.
Okay.
That was a good just in general because so many people could fit it, which made it good for this particular practice and exercise. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. I got 20 minutes. I got to get 19 minutes now. I got to know someone on our team correctly.
You got to get somebody. For this one, it was, I wish I had your hair. I mean, this could truly be anybody, but I wish I had your hair.
I wish I had your hair.
I wish I had your hair. And it's a tricky one too, because there's only so many people that I've actually met in person, which is crazy. But I'd say probably half of the people on the team I've met in person. The other half I've seen on screens. And sometimes you're just in awe of certain things. You're like, ooh, whether I've met you or not, I'm not gonna say which one this is, but I wish I had your hair.
Rachel.
So we're not talking Ray. You're not talking Ray. You're talking Rachel. Why Rachel?
Jensen.
Why Rachel?
I'm just picturing her hair, and her hair on the picture that she has in there is nice. Her hair typically looks nice, and you don't have any hair, so you're like, man, I want that long flowing hair. I can also see Chris because he's just got a nice head of hair, but like it's short, manageable.
Yeah.
Would look good on you, even though it'd be weird for a while. I could go with Chad because he's got the little Pro Hawk thing he does. That I don't think he likes if I call it Pro Hawk, but we're gonna call it that anyway. Oh man, I don't know.
There's a lot of people that
Aaron Healy's got some. She's rocking. I could totally see Becky Thaw's hair on you. I'm trying to picture you.
So now this is gonna be a weird one now because whoever I mentioned, people are gonna be like, seriously? Because here's the pretext. The person who I chose, I had hair back in the day, at least in my own memory of it, that looked like this person's.
Oh, really?
Now this person's gonna get extremely offended because I just said that.
You shouldn't have went there.
I'm super envious. Because this is a person's hair that I would love to have, and even wearing a hat all the time, I think I could still pull off this look.
Who?
You were right the first time. Rachel Jensen.
It is Rachel's?
Rachel's hair reminds me of what my hair looked like when I was in high school. It was my dream that I guarantee it didn't look nearly as amazing as it looks on her, but it's my dream to have that.
You had that long hair in high school?
I did. Yeah, it stared off with
is it dark like that? Is it dark too like Rachel's?
Yeah.
No kidding.
I started off well, I'll tell you the story some other time, but it was long, and then I ended up shaving the bottom and pulling it back into a ponytail in the back. Yeah,
with a rubber band.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But were you in when the part down the middle made sense? Where you did the grunge middle?
It's back again, by the way. Did you know that?
That's I don't want to talk about that, but because I did, because I mine never went quite as long as like Rachel's, but I'd go down to my shoulders, which went well with my 6 earrings, which I know was Instagram.
Yeah, we have to talk about that too.
Because I'm like, oh, like I told him about it, I'm like, I'm gonna if I have to follow through that, I'm gonna have to go get it pierced because I won't be able to get it through. It's been too long, but.
Okay, so let's fill people in on that. So this past weekend, made a trip to Claire's at the mall, and we know Claire's is
incredible. It's amazing to me that Claire's is still around, and then this mall you speak of is still a thing. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's the place to be here in Pensacola, Florida. But Claire's is known for a couple things. It's known for friendship bracelets,
And getting your
ear pierced. Yes. So I've got 4 kids. 2 of them decided to get their ears pierced. Now, my only daughter, she already has her ears pierced, so she wanted her second one.
Mm-hmm.
And my oldest son said, "Hey, Dad, I'm 16. I want to get my ears pierced. Can I?" And I was like,
"Did he get
sure,
2?
Let's go." He did.
Is it still like back in the day? It was like you're supposed to get the left one as your guy. Like,
yeah, exactly. And I don't know. He said he wanted them both done. I was like, whatever. And he said, "I want to get them both done. And if I don't like one, I can take it out and let it close." I was like, "Whatever, you do, you, sir."
Yeah.
So we went to the mall and got their ears pierced, and they were champs. I did not have to hold anybody down to have it done. It worked out great.
It's good.
So then when we got home, I was reminded that I've told them all before that I had multiple earrings. I had 2 on my left, 1 on the right, and decided to find my old earrings, which I still have, set them in peroxide for a little bit and see if I could get an earring back in. Well, my bottom left one is closed up in the back. I could get the earring like halfway through, and I was like, I can't get it in. Randomly, I tried my second one, went right through.
Went right through.
Like, sweet.
Must have healed really well back in the day.
Well, I did not go to Claire's to get my ear pierced. I had some roommates in college that took care of all 3 of my piercings. So needless to say, there's probably quite a bit of scar tissue built up. I think infections.
So you had 2 on your left, 1 on your right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I had 2 down here, 2 here, and then 2 up here on my left. So I had 6 altogether.
Was that painful?
No, I think it was a little more than these, but yeah, I had 2 up in the cartilage.
Okay.
So then hoops and everything.
Well, when I was in high school,
not hoops, rings.
Yeah, I got my 3 my freshman year of college. When I was in high school, though, my senior year of high school, there was this guy who had ears pierced, both ears pierced. He had his nose pierced. He had nipples pierced and belly button pierced. And he used to show up to school with paper clips connecting them all. Like, well, it's funny until he got in a fight in the cafeteria one day.
Someone pulled it,
and boom. I have never heard a scream like I heard that day. Oh, I can't. It was insane.
I went with my buddy Stu when he got his nipples done. Ooh. And that was a scream.
Like, I can.
They put that clamp on there and pull it out. And I'm like, he didn't actually scream, but the guy goes, "Okay, breathe in, and when I put it through, you breathe out." And he's a tough dude, like Navy guy. And like they put it through, and he goes, like just beat random. And then the guy's like, "All right, you still want the other one?" And he's like, "Yeah, just do it." Oh man, I'm like, "No, not for me." But yeah, I don't remember. I think I got one of them might have been Clears. I did one when I was on a beach trip with the boys, and I don't know. I don't remember when I got all mine done, honestly. But I just remember I had to take them out when I got into management at my first job. So I took them out really young. Yeah. And for a while, I was taking them out, putting them back in, and then eventually I'm like, I can't. I'm just done. I'm good. I
took mine out as soon as I started student teaching because I thought, oh, the stigma, nobody's going to hire me or somebody's going to be offended by it. So I took them out. Mm-hmm. But if I'm being completely transparent here, I had mine in this weekend, and I was like, I got lots of reactions from my family who hated it because I had a huge pirate ring. It was a big one that I had in this weekend, and got lots of looks. And I wanted to keep it in just because of that. Like I want to be like, no, I like it. I like it. This is me.
44. Yeah. This is my
rebellious my midlife crisis. I'm wearing this thing, but I ended up taking it out on Monday. I actually slept in it and completely forgot that I was sleeping in it and everything. Like, it was perfectly comfortable.
See, when I got mine, it was just like I don't know if you ever watched Daniel Sloss comedy. Mm-hmm. Oh, Daniel Sloss is hilarious. It's dark, but it's like he's brilliant. Like his comedy's actually, even when he's talking about like immature stuff, he's actually brilliant. Anyway, he talks about like how his parents were so liberal and supportive that he shouldn't have made it as an artist because like he couldn't rebel because they were just like whatever, like sure, of course, like he's like, I'm gonna start drinking. They're like, well, you're 18, it's about time, because they're Scottish and stuff like that. But I say like my parents, like I that was me trying to rebel, and my parents were like, oh okay, like make sure you clean it because otherwise it's gonna get infected. And I'm like, I don't get to be the rebellious teenager. Maybe that's what happened. Now you're rebelling at 44.
Well, no, mine was definitely a rebellion.
Are you 44? Because I keep saying that. Is that accurate?
That's right. Yeah, well done.
You'll correct me if I'm too high.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, mine was definitely rebellion. Remember, I grew up in a military household. So my freshman year of college, it was my first time away, and I said, I'm going to do what I want to do. And
I'm the youngest of three, and my older brother was into the grunge scene when that first started. He came out as gay pretty young and stuff. So like he took care of all that. There was nothing left. Like anything I did, they would be like, yeah, it's cool, dude. Like Paul did that tenfold. Nice try.
Been there, done that. Yeah.
But, by the time it got to me, they were like, yeah, you're cool, dude. It's all right. Yeah, interesting. Okay, we got to do at least one more. I got to try and get one more of these. I know we went off track with the earrings. Dave and I at the Teach Better conference in October are going to get our ears pierced on stage if enough money is raised for some sort of charity.
Okay,
just let that flip right.
Okay, I'm in. Okay. Okay. So this one's not necessarily a superlative. More, you'll see. But it's. What's your name again? That's what I'm going to call this one. What's your name again?
It's going to be Ray, right?
Oh, that would be a good one. Why do you say Ray?
Because it's not her name.
What is her name again?
Her name's Ray.
Okay. Oh, you are just too kind.
Her name is Rachel.
You're saying that because we got a meeting with her in like
her name's Rachel, but she gave herself the name Ray because that's what people called her.
Okay.
And it ended up sticking, and I goof with her.
Okay.
But it's not Ray.
I'm not going to tell you yet, but Ray is a fair guess for what's your name again. What's your name again?
So is this someone who like Bree's got a good guess because we have a couple Aaron, so it could be Aaron. So is it that or is it someone's name? We do have multiple. I think someone's name is hard to pronounce. No. Or so then my only left thing is this is someone who you feel that is forgettable.
Ooh.
In which case,
it's not you, Jeff.
Like
it's not you,
Chad.
Who's that? Well, it could be Chad because a lot of times when Chad comes online, people are like, "What? You're the founder of this thing? What? Really?" That'd be a funny one.
What's your name again? Oh, that's a tough
See, this
one.
is another fun thing about this. Like you start to learn more things about people too when you get the explanations. So, yeah.
This is is it Megan?
Yes, it was Megan
this summer and her name's different now?
I was I was in a meeting with Caitlin Giordano this weekend, and Megan's name came up in our meeting, and we both called her Megan Deegan. And then afterwards, we're like, wait a second. That's not her name anymore. And it's been like almost a year, but I still call her Megan Deegan, even though
I got one. Thank you,
Hosina.
Megan.
Yes.
Always count on Megan to give you a win.
There you go.
Interesting. Okay, that was fun.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Hey, we already mentioned this, but I do want to mention, conference. Come to the conference in October.
Are you
talking not already? I'm talking, you, but everyone who's watching, listening, whatever. October's 14th, 15th, teachbetterconference.com. You still have just a few weeks left to get $100 off. That goes away on March 1st. So now's the time to move. Proposals also open on March 1st. We're also opening another
proposals, meaning like if you want to speak and present.
If you want to come and speak and present, that'll open up on March 1st. So you can start doing that. There's a lot of information out there right now about getting ready for that.
If I want to speak and present, can I fill out a proposal too? Or am I excluded?
You're excluded. Unless you wear that shirt.
I had an idea.
You had an idea? Oh, okay.
Hold on. Did you just say if I wear this shirt, I'm in? Done. Done.
Let me know your idea, and we can work on that.
Okay.
What else is there? 12-hour live. The agenda is officially launched, so that's pretty awesome.
Can we remind people that Valentine's Day is on Monday in case they need to order something on Amazon, like the buy now button on Amazon? Do it. You've got like 5 days, people.
So I have to buy Valentine's Day, and then Amy's birthday is the day after. So I got to figure out something. I always have to figure out something good. I do them together sometimes as like a big thing. I have no idea what to do. I need help?
Yeah, you do. Since we have 5 days, yes, you do.
I need help. I'm not sure which way to go with that, but so I'm glad you reminded me because I've heard it 4 times this week already, and I still need reminded apparently. Because I'm not.
You want me to write you a Basecamp task?
That might be. We might need to do that. That might need to. That might need to happen. That might be the only way to do it. I need a Basecamp. It's funny as that is. I know we're joking. Like I do that where I'm like,
I know you do.
like I had one this morning that was like, make sure to call the school and tell them that we were picking the kids up early. Tomorrow I have to, schedule doctor appointments. Like I do it all the time. So that's not far off. Yeah. So Valentine's Day, that's next week. And on 26th of February is the 12-hour lives. We'll be live from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. We have all kinds of guests coming in, new faces, lots of new faces, lots of giveaways, like 100 giveaways.
100 giveaways, I heard.
And it's like, it's books, there's shirts, there's tote bags.
It's not like a virtual high five from Dave. Like these are good ones.
There's like free trials and licenses for different softwares and ed tech stuff. Like there's a lot of really cool stuff for this. It's super cool. So excited about that. So that's that. And then what else we got going on? Oh, you know what? I wanted to mention it. We haven't mentioned this for a while, but Dave, you put out a course in January, and it's a really good course, and it's called Professional Learning from Thought to Action. Did I say that right? Yes.
You did.
And I think people should go check it out. That's a really good course that's over there. I think it works well for both administrators who are thinking through, like, hey, how do I finish up this year with the right kind of professional development leading into the summer? And for teachers, it's, hey, what should I maybe be advocating for? How should I be thinking through what I need to talk to my admins for? And at the very least, you get a little extra Dave.
There you go.
Another new course coming to the Academy next week too, so that's an exciting one. A lot of good stuff going on, Dave.
Yeah, it's a busy time of the year. But
yes,
it's a fun
are you with us next week, or are you traveling?
I am with you next week, but I'm also traveling, just not traveling on Wednesday.
Okay, so you are
here in Arkansas next week.
Oh, you leave Thursday, don't you?
Yeah.
What's that for? You have 3.5 minutes. Tell us about Arkansas.
So Arkansas has their own version of ISTE. It's the state chapter of ISTE. Chapter. And so they're bringing me in, and I get to do a keynote and a couple sessions and meet some amazing people in the great. What state are they in Arkansas? They're not the Granite State, are they? Maybe they are the Granite State. I'm going to Arkansas, flying into Little Rock and hanging out with a bunch of Razorbacks and having some fun.
Is it the Razorback State?
I don't know that they're the Razorback State, but I should probably know this. I was a geography major, so. Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Arkansas, the natural state.
The natural state. Yes. That makes sense.
If you think about it, none of our states are actually natural. They were all
okay. Don't start bashing Arkansas just because they're the create. Yeah. No, but anyway, I get to go to Arkansas next week, so that's
super cool.
Yeah.
That's
cool. And I also get to virtually go to New Jersey on the same day. I'm like doing a twofer on that day. So
Arkansas, well, like. Not quite ends of the country, but quite a bit of distance.
Thank God for technology.
That's awesome. Well, that's cool. So we'll see you on Wednesday. We'll be back next Wednesday, same time, same place here. And tomorrow morning, join Ray for Daily Drop-In, which happens every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern time. And we will see you next week. Appreciate you, Dave. Always appreciate you, brother. See you guys next week. That's it.